I always struggle with figuring out what do I do next in my own personal self-studying situation. Like I finished the first textbook, but I still can't do X, Y, and Z. And I've heard other people say that after years of studying the language, there's this issue of how do you break past your best, or how do you break past this point where you feel comfortable in something. So start with your personal journey and that pain point that you've heard other people say too. And that gives you the confidence of it's not just me, and I might have an answer for this.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. This is Legendary Language Learner, and today we're doing something that we've never done before. We're doing a group conversation, a group mastermind, and this is to help you out, not only if you're a language learner, but if you're interested in becoming a language learning entrepreneur or teacher or influencer. We have 5 incredible, talented people in the room, 6 if you include me, but that's up to you. But 5 incredible people in the room today, and we're going to have a conversation about language learning and also building a brand and getting better at sharing what you do on social media so you can impact people, make a positive difference in more people's lives. And we'll also put links to their channels and their sites down below. So if someone says something that really resonates with you, you can go over to see what they're doing at their channel. First, I would just like us each to introduce ourselves. So how about you, CIRMA?
Hello. Thank you, Matt, and lovely to see all of you. And I really admire the work that you are doing. So, okay, I will start. So my name is CIRMA. I'm from Spain, from the Canary Islands, a really tiny place next to Africa. And I love learning languages. So I speak English, Spanish, and Mandarin. Still learning Mandarin though. But yeah, I love sharing the knowledge of languages. So yeah, that's what I do with my brand Tirilingua.
My name is Emily, and I am the mind behind Language Travel Adoptee. My main platform is YouTube, but I mainly help just already very passionate foreign language learners go from maybe they feel stuck or overwhelmed, self-critical, and I help them get to feeling really confident and resilient, and also finding a lot of joy and clarity in like juggling and learning multiple languages, while also just balancing well-being, because I think that is something that is very neglected sometimes when we just think about always striving for the next goal, and we kind of bury ourselves in goals before really checking in on ourselves.
Hi everyone, my name is Sam. I am from India. I live in like south part of India, Bangalore, and I actually run an online language school. It's called the Mandarin Story, which offers basically variety of courses in Mandarin Chinese language, from kids to adults to business Chinese. And I'm basically trying to prove people wrong. And like a lot of people think like Mandarin is considered as one of the most difficult languages. I feel it's a very simple and logical language. It depends on how you teach. So that's where I'm breaking this myth of Mandarin being the most difficult language. I feel it's a very simple and logical language. And yeah, I do that through offering pre-recorded courses, building digital products, having live online classes as well. I speak Hindi, English, and Mandarin fluently. I have tried learning Japanese and Cantonese before. That's about my language background.
I'm Vicky, and I am super nervous to be here. So putting all my cards out on the table. I am an English teacher. I'm from Nebraska in the USA, almost smack dab in the center of the US. And yeah, I'm in Spain. I live in Spain in La Mancha. So not quite the center, but center-ish, very similar to Nebraska. I try to find the Nebraska in all the countries that I go to. And yeah, that's my story. Thanks for having us.
Hi, my name is TIARA, and I'm from New Jersey, USA. I tell people New York City here, but no, I'm from New Jersey. I'm currently in South Korea, and I've been here for give or take 4 years now. I have a brand called Speak in Spades LLC, and I create language playing cards, and I have these language journals. And both of these resources are ways for you to really customize your language learning and turn it into something that grows with you. And so I want you to celebrate your language journey. And that's why I created these things, and I hope that you enjoy it.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Tiara. And again, thank you to all of you for joining. And guys, again, you can find links below to what each of these people are doing on their own channels and their own sites. So let's get into our first question. The first question is, how does the way you learn languages tie into what you do? I feel like we've probably learned something about ourselves over the years, how we like to learn, how we learn best. We've learned how to overcome our own obstacles. And so how did you learn to translate that into something that you could offer to others?
I guess I would say that my language learning was highly influenced by my Spanish teachers in high school because they were amazing. And I feel really lucky that I had amazing teachers who let me see how fun language learning was. And then I had, no offense to my university teachers, but I had some pretty crappy teachers in the university. And I realized I don't want to be that. And I want to be that amazing, fun teacher that my high school teachers were. And I don't think that as adults, we need to be boring and not having fun with languages. I think that there doesn't need to be a change. We can still have fun with languages and be old people, which I categorize myself as. So that's my thoughts on language learning.
Well, I appreciate you said that. And what's crazy is I had like the opposite experience. I had a rough time in high school, teachers and classes I didn't really like, but it turned around in university. But what we're saying here is that, teachers can make a big difference and they can inspire us to be great teachers later. So yeah, try to find a great teacher who can speak to you and who resonates with you.
When I was growing up, I have a huge card playing culture in my school, at home, just everywhere. If I wasn't learning a card game from my friends, I was learning a card game from my grandma, literally. And in school, especially, like we finished our work or we finished our exams and then we were able to play. So we could play with cards, we could play with board games. And as I grew up and eventually started teaching here in Korea, every week I'm creating games for my students. And I'm like, I want to play some of these games. Like, I started learning Korean because I was making it for Korean students and they were practicing English. And so it turned into something where I was like, okay, well, if I'm excited about the games that I make, I'm sure that people want to play games even when they're 25, 30, 35, So I turned my culture into the two things that I know, being able to talk about yourself, which is where the journals come from, and then for the cards, literally playing while you're learning. So that's how I learn these days.
Yeah, I kind of feel like you want to recreate now the environment and the culture that motivated you so much back in the day, right?
Definitely. Like in every class, for science, for math, for Spanish, we broke out cards. After we eat lunch, if it's too cold or hot outside, we're playing cards. And it's something that I wanted to combine that feeling of reward with that feeling of, oh, I actually want to do this for like an hour or 2 hours,
So I think by way of summary here for the viewers, maybe you can think about what moved you, what inspired you as a language learner, perhaps when you were younger. Maybe you can take that idea back, you can develop that, use that as your fuel now to share with others. There's that old quote, right? That if you can be interested in that thing, whatever it is, there must be other people who are too. So you can, believe in your own interest, whatever that thing is. Don't think you're the only one who likes that thing. Don't assume that. There must be other people out there who would like you to be the ringleader there, and they would join together with you and support what you're doing.
Yeah, and I think that, and thank you, Tiara and Vicky, for sharing, because I mean, this goes with the theme of me as well, right? You want to provide what you have not seen, and you want to be the change, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's where I was coming from too, because when I was learning languages, I started with German and then Italian, and then I kept on going. And it started with the initial joy and just proving myself wrong and knowing that I could do what I set out for myself to do instead of waiting for someone else to do it for me. But I think when I started to really feel like this kind of urgency and inadequacy, really, even as I started to learn even more languages, I was like, well, maybe there's something wrong with me because this is not turning out to be a good experience. Language learning isn't like totally positive for me right now. And I don't see a lot of people really talking about the emotions that go on behind our language learning experiences. And then on top of that, as I was learning more languages, they started out more in Western Europe. So with, of course, as I said before, like French and German, Italian, everything, I was starting to be questioned about where I really came from and why I wasn't learning like any Asian language because that matched my face. And so I was like, you know what? No one has talked about this before. And I felt so alone. And I also felt really boxed in. And all of that processing up until, learning my heritage language, Chinese, which I just started like a month ago. It hasn't been a super long time. And I'm happy to see that so many people in the group as well are like speak Mandarin as well. It's just talking about those stories behind the languages and how we got there that I've really found how I can, in a sense, like heal myself as well and really come back to who I am. Because I think so many people, we're pulled in every different directions with all of these labels in the language learning community, which is fine. But I think sometimes it's better to come back and check in and see what, what our story really is and what's right for us as well. So.
Yeah, what a great point to bring up. I mean, you remind me to say it could help your efforts. Again, for the viewers at home, it could help your efforts if you connect to your story, your journey, and be willing to share how you've digested some of those difficult times and to be more open, to be more vulnerable, because people don't want to just connect with your product or service. They want to connect with you. So you have to get better at sharing. You have to get better at opening up, right? Can you share one of your great success stories with a student or a customer or a follower or a client that you helped? And what was it that made the difference for them?
I have two actually, so I'm a bit, I don't know which one to tell, but I can be very brief with both of
Go
them.
for it. Yeah, both are okay.
So one of them, when I started online teaching, I had this student. She was also based in Spain, but in another community. And basically, she was learning Mandarin because her kids were learning as well. They were like in a trilingual school. And then she was also a police officer. And she told me sometimes Chinese people will come to the police station and they will need some translation, but obviously they didn't have translators at the time. And she just asked me, "Can you prepare a lesson that is a bit focused on things to say to help them and to get them out of just to get like a list of basic things?" And I prepared that for her, and she practiced that. And after a few weeks, actually, she had a person coming to the station, and she was able to help. And I felt so proud for her, and she felt so proud of herself. So yeah, that's good. And another story is that during pandemic, I started an association with another Spanish teacher, and she was looking to find small Spanish schools like ourselves, and we created a network. And now we have, I think, like 20 something other schools. I'm no longer part of the association because of time issues, but I'm very proud of them, and it's really, really heartwarming to see how it has developed. So yeah, those two.
So yeah, when Sarma spoke about her journey, I just reminded me of my story as well. Like, in Mandarin, we have these levels which are really not defined like real levels. Like the HSK one is like 150 vocab. And when I started learning Mandarin as a beginner, you can't really do anything about those 150 words. Like very, very limited you can speak. So in beginning how to make a person confident that you know a lot. You feel you do not know anything in Mandarin, but you know a lot. So I started these things that I do at every level, which is like I give like a huge story, like a HSK, like a level 1 story, English story to my students, and they like translate everything in the class. So translation actually plays a very important role in giving you confidence. And I have seen other people debating on that a teacher should not start with translation, or should not include translation in the beginning. They should teach the native language using the native language. But what I have found is I found that if you do the translation exercise in the beginning, the confidence is a different level, that when they see, oh, this was an English story that we could completely translate in Mandarin, it's a huge confidence that they receive. And yeah, that's like a success for me. Like if they can do it, that means, yeah, they have actually learned the grammar well and the vocab well. And of course, when it comes to speaking, I do these story compositions. So whenever I see, okay, people are even making 6 or 8 sentences, seeing like a picture. So again, for me, that's a success story. So my success story doesn't come with like where they have used the Mandarin in real life, because most of them are in India itself. But yeah, the success stories are coming out of like the activities that I'm giving them, and how are they performing in those activities.
Cool. And I'm picking up on a common thread here between some of Surma's answers and Sam's answers, which is you sort of identify there was a practical need that you identified. There was a clear problem or an issue, and you used your creativity to create a practical solution, or to create some sort of a guidebook or a program or a lesson to fit that need, and that contributed to the success of those people, of those students. So as language learning entrepreneurs, that's one of the key things we have to do, right? Identify the specific need that we can help with, be willing to adapt something or create something that fits, and deliver the solution that translates to a real result for those students, so they can feel more confident, they feel like they've had that success, right? That's actually
Yes,
a little
yes,
easier
yeah.
said than done sometimes too. I actually have trouble with that. Well, does actually, our next question kind of is in a similar vein. So maybe we can shift to question 3. And if anybody else has some ideas about question 3, you can jump in. So it is, what is one of the biggest stumbling blocks that you see with the people that you helped? And maybe it's something you struggled with and you've learned to overcome that, but maybe this can tie into with people that we have helped.
Yeah, obviously there are obvious challenges, but one of the most common ones that I think you may have seen this is the confidence. Like a lot of people that are very talented, they are very skilled, their pronunciation is good, they have no issues whatsoever, they are learning in an average way, but they are very shy and self-aware of how they do things, and they are not very confident. And you really have to perform the part of a part of being a teacher, being like a coach, and kind of like lift them and try to make them see that they are very very good at what they're doing, and they are on the process of being better at it. Yeah.
I agree with Soma. I think apart from confidence, consistency is also something I see sometimes student doesn't have. This is one challenge even I face. When I was into Mandarin completely, I used to be very consistent because I was taking as a full-time thing. Now I have a job, and then I have to study a language. I tried learning 2 different languages, and I couldn't be consistent with it. So I think consistency is my own struggle, and I've seen my students struggle. So having accountability partners really helps. That's how I overcame my struggle. That's how I ask my students as well, that have an accountability partner, or document your journey on Instagram. When you everyday post on Instagram, that also helps. So yeah, but consistency is something I feel it's a big challenge.
This is a great point, because you may think, oh, I just want to get into this arena. I want to get into this field because I have this product or this service, and I want to sell it to them so they can solve this problem. And you may lose sight of the fact that you're going to be dealing with a whole person. and they could have confidence issues, time management issues, consistency issues. So if you really want to help them, you can't think so narrow-mindedly, right? You have to have good abilities as a coach and a mentor. Okay, question number 4 is, what general advice would you give to language learners who are thinking to start becoming language learning entrepreneurs or teachers or social media influencers? So general advice at first, and then we'll move into some specific tools and tactics.
For me, the answer is to think about your pain point and think about something that maybe you've heard other people complain about in similar genres. So for me, it ended up being measurability. Like I always get to this point where I feel comfortable in this small group of things, and then I want to take that next step. And I always struggle with figuring out what do I do next in my own personal self-studying situation. Like I finished the first textbook, but I still can't do X, Y, and Z. And I've heard other people say that after years of studying the language. Or even for other skills too, like learning how to play an instrument or trying to get this one skill in a sport. There's this issue of how do you break past your best, or how do you break past this point where you feel comfortable in something? And that's what started it for me, and trying to find those things that mixed my interests with measurability. But for someone new, they might have a different aspect of language learning that I didn't think of, but I also struggle with. So start with your personal journey and that pain point that you've heard other people say too. And that gives you the confidence of it's not just me, and I might have an answer for this.
Yeah. I agree with Tiara with the pain point thing. And I also feel like when you figure out the pain point, I think you should start creating a freebie so you can collect emails, which I have not done in last 3 years. And I feel it's very important one should do it, because when you actually start getting the students and you start getting into that money making business, you tend to really forego that, oh, we need to create this whole product tier and everything. And I feel like one should like really set up that first, like have a freebie and then have like a small product and then like a bigger product. Otherwise, if you start taking like I don't know, like personalized classes or live classes, or any other way you're doing entrepreneurship, let's say it's a service, not a product, that is also makes a lot of difference. So in the service based, I think creating products and marketing is much more important than selling. Like selling will come later on. First, like just put out yourself in the social media and side by side create your products, and then think about selling.
Yeah, I like those two ideas actually go together really well. So, like Tiara said, you can identify the pain points you have had,
Mm.
pain points other people have, and then and connecting that to what Sam said, you can start to create some content, start to create some free, maybe like an ebook or some sort of video course or something, and start to share and put yourself out there addressing those pain points, building people's confidence in you, building your connections, and at the same time on the side, maybe developing your product and service. So
Mm.
yeah, I like that idea too. I think people, don't hesitate to start putting yourself out there and start trying to provide useful content. So a lot of people they work in anonymity for too long on this one baby. They have this one product idea or this one idea, and they're trying to make it perfect before they reveal it and themselves to the world. And you're losing a lot of time if you do it that way. Like Sam says, you can put yourself out in front right away, start sharing useful content for free and develop that on the side. I really like that. It's not easy to do. People might be, a little shy at first or have trouble being on camera, but maybe they can
Mm.
blog or, it doesn't have to be video necessarily, but taking those action steps and putting yourself out there right away. I should have done that, come to think of it. It was so funny when I first got started because I made this card game, the first card game. It was in 2016, and I was learning how to build a website. I never built a website before. And the whole website, like I buried the card game inside a website that made no sense. The website was just a collection of like every idea that I had that I thought was good. And then I just kind of sat back hiding behind, the website waiting for a sale. Now, if I would do it differently, I would do it just like Sam is saying. I would set up a few profiles on social media and come right out and be right out in front, delivering value, delivering content, and earning people's trust and building a following and engaging with the community. And then, developing that product on the side. Product is there if you want it. That's way more action oriented, way more, putting yourself out there. I love that.
I just, as you were saying, value and to contribute things with value and things that are useful, I just wanted to jump in and say, because some people might hear that and think, oh, but what I have isn't valuable. What I have isn't going to be useful. But there's 2 points with that. One, you start sharing now, because even like Matthew, as you were telling your story, like you weren't sharing those things and then they just sat there, but they could have been valuable to somebody. And then as you continued to learn and grow, well, you change the way that you're doing things. And I guess just not to judge what you're putting out there as not valuable and not useful, because you never know who's going to find it. And we, just like with languages, like you start saying the first words that trying to construct sentences and communicate as best you can. And sometimes you fumble, sometimes it makes complete sense, but you do it. And I feel like that's kind of the process of getting out there and sharing stuff on social media or on your website. And my other point that I wanted to make was energy levels, to just pay attention to what you have the capacity to do and not to be worried about what other people are posting. And like, if you can't post every single day, you don't need to post every single day. You post what you have the ability to post, and you will know that by whether you feel completely burnt out or not. If you feel completely burnt out, then you probably weren't paying attention to your energy levels. I speak from experience.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Vicky. Let's slide into the next question of some specific advice and tools. What specific tools or products or services or websites would you recommend to people to help them get this job done? Again, they want to be teachers or social media influencers or entrepreneurs. Is there something that you rely on to help you? Could even be like, I could name a few things real quick. Would be like, I use design programs to create, if you want to make posts for different social media, they have, for example, different sizes for the different posts on different social media. So you might like a certain design program. I use a program called Be Funky. And I also have been using Fiverr more and more to try to outsource work that is relatively simple, so I can be focused more on the creative side. So how about you guys? What do you like to use to get the job done? Emily? Yeah.
Yeah, I love Fiverr, and I think it's really important as well. And it kind of goes back to the other question that we had answered, but don't be afraid to ask for help. I think as entrepreneurs, influencers, whatever we are, we sometimes feel like we have to do it all. And if we know we have the means of outsourcing even just a little bit, like that is okay to ask for help. And I had to get over that as well. So I also use Fiverr at times, especially if you are using a lot of video. I mean, video editing takes so much time. So I'm just like, I cannot be shy about asking for help. I really also, I guess, I really like Adobe Creative Cloud, but just be aware of whatever apps or whatever you get help from, like just be aware of what features are already offered, because I'm already paying for Canva, for example, but Adobe Express literally does everything that Canva does. So, and there's so much, like so many tools I think that you can scatter through, and it can be pretty overwhelming
Yeah.
But just, I think it's good for us to even just quarterly or however often you feel is best for you to reevaluate what you are paying for to make the business run, and then see where you can cut down, because I can definitely do that after you realize it. But sometimes you just go maybe even like a few months without realizing, wow, I just paid for this, but another service that I'm already paying for provides it as well in a bundle.
Mm-hmm. Good point. Good point. Now, I just saw Sam's hand about the same time as Emily. Did you have an answer, Sam?
Yeah, yeah. I feel like one needs to master the tools related with AI, because the thing is, you can't, like, it's my personal experience that, let's say if I don't know web development and I'm giving someone that, and let's say I don't know social media marketing and I'm again outsourcing it, it's going to crash at some point, because you don't know what is going on and the other person is just taking money and money and money from you. So I feel like one needs to really learn skills, either learn skills and then like outsource. And
Mhm.
now in the times of AI, it is much easier to depend on a machine rather than a human. That's
Mhm.
how I feel. So I feel like mastering things like Notion or Airtable or Glide. These are all like a software. Software is a great web development website where you can make your own website. So these AI tools can like really help you automate so many things and save you money as well. So ChatGPT, of course, is there to help you with so many content, copywriting, marketing, sales. Everything is happening through that.
Mhm.
Mastering AI tools is very necessary, and like then following that what you should be using, because again there are tons of AI tools. So pick like maybe like five, six which are helping you in specific arenas. That is helpful. Also, like what I also found helpful is like um I feel like we each one like follow some sort of like content creator who teach you how to make money online. I feel like those courses, I mean, if it's a really good course, that it actually teaches you about everything about personal branding to copywriting to sales to marketing, how to set up systems. And there are a lot of things that goes into building a business. It's just not about teaching or selling a product. It's just so much. And if you don't have a structure, what you should start first, where you should go, and it can get very overwhelming.
Mm.
So I wish I would have first learned how to make money online with any product and service. So learning basic skills which needed to run an online business, and then getting to my curriculum or product or marketing, whatever I have to do with like any language or product. And then yeah, maybe go into other domains. So, so yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Now, let's go to our last question, which is I'd love to hear about your all's summer plans, goals, initiatives, perhaps as a language learner or as whatever you do for your business or your service. So yeah, what are your plans for this summer? What's your goals? What's your initiative? Maybe each one can answer this question so we can get a heads up about what each of you are doing. And I'll just go around the circle, starting with you, Emily. How about you?
Of course. So my personal plans are that in about 2 weeks, I'm almost like I wish I didn't book this because I'm really scared. But I used to live in Berlin about 3 years ago, and this is the very first time after the pandemic that I'm able to go back and visit friends. So my goal there is to speak every language I know with one person. It doesn't have to be fluent, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I just miss experiencing languages. So that's what's coming up for me this summer. And then I am on the business side creating a membership for really creating a community, but also a guideline, like a really big guideline of measuring where people are on really whatever they want to do with multiple languages, and seeing how they can balance those priorities, but also well-being, and getting more in touch with them, which will then help skyrocket their language learning more. So that's what I'm building on the back end.
Cool. Sounds great. How about you, Sam?
As for language learning, I'm already in Taiwan for next 20 days. So that I especially chose this country to just brush up my skills and see, okay, what my students can face problems, or how do they feel if they go to a new country, because it's very hard to put myself into their shoes if I'm like sitting in my house. So this is one thing I'm doing for myself. And actually, this is also helping for my brand, because I'm also posting content on, hey, I'm in Taiwan doing this and that. It's bringing a lot more followers, it's bringing a lot more content for me. So it's like a two-in-one thing that is
Mm,
happening because I'm in Taiwan. But
absolutely.
the future plans for the brand for myself also is like, I'm hoping to have a like more structure to my business after 3 years of not having proper systems. Sometimes business can get into really chaos. I think I see chaos right now. So I want to declutter, digital declutter, or
Hmm.
yeah, and see how I want to take my business
Got you. Got
forward.
you. I like the plan. I like your focus on the systems. Well done. And Vicky?
What I'm looking forward to this summer is hanging out with my friends and my family. And so I am going to Nebraska. And in case Nebraska didn't know, you get to see me this summer. This is the announcement, the official announcement. And then summer is usually a big time where I get to spend more time with languages. So I'm just excited to hang out with French, become BFFs all summer
Nice.
long. And business wise, I get to support Matthew this summer with the game master.
Yes.
And that's been so fun for me. So
Mhm.
thank you for that opportunity. Heading into language land all summer long.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to put together some games with like already existing games like categories or Balderdash for some more advanced learners, or people
Nice.
who are ready to acknowledge and feel more advanced with their English. So that's my big.
That sounds wonderful. And yes, thank you to you and Surma for helping me out this summer. Okay, Surma, it's your turn.
Okay. Well, yeah, looking forward also to hosting some sessions for the heading into language land. Yeah, it's really fun and it's really nice to see and meet new people. It's really cool. And I'm about to say something a bit contradictory, because I'm also going to use summer holidays to try to master the skill of doing nothing, which I think is also very important, because I think all of you have been like, noting, because I think all of us
Yeah,
can
yeah.
get into our heads. I think Emily has great content about all the
Mhm,
process
mhm.
and kind of self-care mentally and all that. And I think that's something that we also have to take into account, because sometimes we all get like, I need to do this, that, and mentally it's like a load of so many things going on at the same time, and it can actually impact other things. So I think I'm going to try to master that, or at least try to train in that. And also obviously updating skills, because as a lot of you is like when you have the most free time. So I'm also trying to connect with that, but also having
Mm,
fun and be around, because it's important also to just to get
yeah.
yourself a fresh start from September. Yeah.
So good you brought up that point. Yeah, the counterbalance. Yeah, for sure. Okay, Tiara.
I'm loving everybody's ideas so far. They're definitely going to be a part of my list also. But no, this summer is actually a really good season for me to start a lot of things. Ever since February, when I came back to Korea, I've been going to a lot of language exchanges. Some people in this group might know that I've been going to different language exchanges in my area in Daegu, and I'm using Spanish, which I haven't used in a while. Some of
Wow.
these language exchanges are Spanish Korean language exchanges, which has
Whoa.
been really
Nice.
exciting for me. And I made my own language exchange for Korean with a lot of the foreign teachers here that come and they want to build their skills to be in front of a classroom. And it's been awesome to teach them different games while using my playing cards and being able to, you know, teach them a part of what I grew up with while being able to, you know, win. I like winning. I'm not gonna lie. So my goal this summer is to win as many card games as possible, to teach as many card games as possible to these different language exchanges or even traveling to different parts of Korea so that this way I could spread this love for language learning in these different settings, like, and especially in classrooms too, as August comes and the second half of the semester starts. Hopefully I'll be one of the people that could go in the classrooms and just show a game and leave. And then now everybody loves cards here in Korea. And I'm also hoping to do some online stuff, like maybe some lives where I show people how to play some solo games. So like Solitaire has been a series I've started on Instagram for showing the steps for how to play Solitaire, and who knows what the next game will be. But I definitely have some ideas to really spread the love for cards. I feel like everyone knows the four suits, but no one really knows how to use them. So I want to shake it up a bit.
Deal
So
me
this
in.
month, yeah, the month that we're filming this right now is June, and we have the language journal. We call it the Language Olympics, and it blew up way bigger than any of us ever expected.
Nice.
It's been awesome to watch people all around the world write for 30 days and follow all of our challenges. And now we're at the second half of it. So we're winding down on that, but I want to celebrate people throughout the rest of the year for the work that they've done during June. I think that it's so important to continue to study language for yourself, study language to learn other cultures, and to really celebrate every step of the way. Like, I definitely don't want people to feel tired after their language sessions. And I think that a lot of us try to solve that issue in different ways. So I'm excited this summer and I got a lot of energy, a lot of plans, but hopefully in the September, October time, I'll be with CIRMA learning the act of doing nothing.
That sounds great. No, thank you for your answer. And I love how CIRMA and TIARA finished off with, you know, recognizing and honoring the season that you're in. Sometimes you got to recognize I need to take a few weeks off here and do nothing. And sometimes you recognize I'm ready to be super productive. So just know yourself, right? But thank you all for coming and joining in. This was fantastic. Now I realize 60 minutes was not enough. We at least need 90 minutes next time. We have so much more we can share, but that's good sometimes, I think, to leave something that could be to be desired, to leave something to look forward to. So I hope we can get together and do this again at some point. But this was really great, and I think we have people sitting in 6 different countries right now. Is that, I think that's right. And I hope this was beneficial to you, the viewers at home. Realize that the people you've been listening to and watching right now, they have products, they have services, they have the ability and the talent to help you. So if what somebody said in this chat today resonated with you, just go down into the description, find their links, reach out to them. You will not be disappointed. The people in this room are working around the clock to bring you new and exciting ideas to motivate you and to be your accountability partner. So thank you again to all of you for coming, and I hope we can do this again, and we'll see you back here next time at Legendary Language Learner. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Gracias. 谢谢. Bye-bye. 再见.